Are good leaders born, or are they made? What we know is that it takes all kinds of experiences to lead, especially in the social sector. Welcome to The Ripple Effect. I'm Caroline Broadhurst, Deputy Chief Exec at the Rank Foundation. In this series, I'll be speaking with leaders from across the UK, learning what led them to work in the social sector and what shaped them into the inspiring leaders they are today. In this episode, I'm in conversation with Aimee Thorpe Mundt, Community Development and Engagement Assistant at the Why Not Trust. The Why Not Trust specialises in services for young people who have experienced time in care, offering support and meaningful relationships. As a care experienced person, Aimee is committed to ensuring other people in the care system get the support they need wherever they live. Aimee was a Rank Aspire participant and she's already an impressive leader, even though she's right at the start of her career. We begin talking about Aimee's high school years and sporting achievements. Then we discuss her passion as a mum herself for helping other care experienced parents to thrive. I'm delighted to share this young leader's story with you. Okay, so Aimee, thanks so much for joining us today. I'm just really going to start with your early years. Can you tell me what you were like at high school and what do you remember enjoying?
High school was an interesting period of my life, as I would say it is for many people. I actually attended 4 different high schools over 6 years, 2 of which were in Scotland and 2 of which were abroad, one in America and one in Canada. I always enjoyed things like physical education and English and art, I think, were probably my top 3 subjects. PE was always good. I was always into my sports growing up. I like to kind of encourage those around me, and I guess that's where my desire, to support others kind of started.
So you got quite a lot of experience from different schools. How come you went abroad for school and what was that like for you?
I ended up getting recruited by an ice hockey academy. I just decided to sign up to this recruiting website, not thinking much of it. It was just one of those, I'll sign up and we'll just see what happens. And I'd planned to do university out there, but I got the email through from who ended up being my coach saying, would you like to join our high school hockey team? So I went into what was 11th grade there.
Which is, how old were you then?
It was my second last year of school, so 16, 17 that year. And I decided just to go with it, just see what happened, see where it took me. I moved to America then, that was Idaho, middle of nowhere. But we lived in a lake city, which was absolutely stunning. The hockey academy had a girls' team and 2 boys' teams, so there was probably about between 50 and 60 of us in the programme, and that was an experience in itself. It was really good. I was one of the only people that came from abroad. They had a boy from Mexico and a boy from Spain, and we were the only 3 that had to go to physical school because of visa requirements. So I went to one of the local schools. It was a private Christian school, and it was the only school that would take the foreign visa. I think it was just a cultural experience as well, being exposed to things that you've never actually seen and just kind of submerging yourself into all of that. I did pretty well in school. That was probably where I started to really get better grades. I think that was because our on-ice time was linked with our school grades.
So do you think being involved with sport changed you as a student? Like, did it make you more driven?
Absolutely, because I just wanted to spend all my time on the ice. And I had to get C grades, so I had to really kind of buckle down and get on with it, And there was a few points in my maths class where I did drop below the C grade, and I did get academically suspended on one occasion, and that kind of set the tone. I was like, right, this isn't happening again, absolutely not. And then for the next year, when I moved to Canada, it was a new team was starting up in the same league that I'd just played in, and it was just nice to be part of another new team setting up. Both the teams I went to, it was their first year having a women's team. I think just being part of, paving the way for the future of women's ice hockey, for more women to come through the sport.
Tell us about some of your early roles and how you found them in work.
When I was 20, probably, I started some like home care roles for the elderly people. I always wanted to help people, but I didn't really know in what capacity, so I was just kind of trying different things out. And I don't really think that was quite for me. It wasn't really the kind of role I could see myself in, like 10 years down the line kind of thing. I got involved with some like project work, so it was never proper like paid work. It was just going and giving my voice and sitting in a space with people that had gone through similar experiences to me, which got me involved with different kind of organisations. It kind of got me social networking, I suppose. So I never had a proper paid job really up until the Why Not Trust. The year before the Why Not Trust, I did have a bit more of a project work. It was kind of assisting on like a document, like a report. Again, it was just kind of giving my views and helping to gather feedback. And that's where my kind of desire of policy work came into it. And then the opportunity came up for the Why Not Trust role. I'd found out I was pregnant in January 2022, which was the start of my kind of work with the report project work that I'd done.
So tell us a bit more about the Why Not Trust. You're based in Scotland.
Yes, so the Why Not Trust supports care experienced people, so people that were in the care system. There's a few kind of projects that are on the go at the moment. So we've got The Village, which supports care experienced parents, and then we've got We Campus, which supports care experienced students. And then we do a kind of peer mentoring as well for care experienced parents to kind of have that peer-to-peer support. So that's our main project at the moment. And I'm contracted to the We Campus, so I support care experienced students.
Lovely. And what do you most enjoy at work?
I love engaging with all of the students, and I've been to a few different kind of freshers events and getting to know different people. We have been to different conferences, but I think just being able to work with the people that you're actually impacting, that's what I enjoy doing. I'm also currently leading on a Care Experienced Parents Charter, which is almost done. We held 3 in-person sessions with care experienced parents. We did that in Glasgow, Stirling and Aberdeen, and I went to all 3 of them. And I just thought, hearing people's stories firsthand instead of reading notes off a piece of paper, that really ignited the fire in me to say, look, this change does need to happen and this is why. We had 3 online sessions with the kind of professionals, and we defined the professionals as people that work with care experienced parents. So that could be anything from like paid workers to, unpaid kinship carers, foster carers, anyone that supports a parent who is in care themselves. And that's been really important, kind of invaluable hearing both sides of that.
And that policy work is influencing the government?
Yes.
Can you tell us a bit more about that, Aimee?
It's on a small scale at the moment. We've currently got 1 local authority signed up to implement the charter in their area. So we're working closely with them at the moment to get the ball rolling with that. And from there, we're looking to roll it out on a wider scale. So we will do kind of testing for change. We'll say, look, this is what's worked, this is what hasn't worked. This is our expectations, I suppose, of others. We want you to implement this. We want you to make these changes. And we just want to set that baseline of support across the board. Support shouldn't depend on where you live. It shouldn't vary just because you're 5 minutes across the boundary line. So I think setting that minimum expectation so that everyone's receiving, an adequate level of support, and not everyone requires the same level of support. So just getting everyone to the same level, putting everyone on an equal playing field, I think that's what's really important to me about this charter.
Can you tell me why you feel it's important to support care experienced parents?
Yeah, so care experienced parents are often very stigmatised against. A lot of them don't have the family support in place that many others would have, and they don't have the people to ask the questions to either. If they were to ask their social worker, how do I make up a bottle, a report would go against them. And as the Why Not Trust says, it takes a village to raise a child, and that's why we've got the village in place. There's also, in some areas, and again it's not across the board, because it's different depending on where you live, but there's pre-parenting assessments which happen during pregnancy. They can determine if, like, the outcome of your child based on your past experiences, which I think is absolutely wrong. Some people lose their children at birth based on how they're deemed to be parents before they get a chance to be a parent. And I think unless there's severe risk factors, that, people should be given the chance to prove themselves, I think. And a lot of care experienced parents just don't get given that opportunity.
And you said it ignited a fire in you. How does it feel to have taken that leadership role in that really important piece of work?
It's absolutely incredible. I was really honoured and shocked to have been asked, do you want to lead this? But as a care experienced parent myself, I knew, some of the challenges, but then hearing others, hearing people that had their kids removed from them, hearing all this, I'm like, things need to change. People deserve love and support and care, and where people do have need for their children to be removed for whatever reason, they deserve to have the support afterwards, because they've just had a piece of their heart ripped away from them. Being able to be in the position to drive that change, it's really important to me. It's probably the most important thing, besides being a mother, that I've done in my life,
I'm struck by you need a lot of confidence and courage one does for this kind of stepping up to the policy work. Can you tell us what shaped your leadership style?
I don't know, that's a tough one. I think growing up, being in sports was really important to me. And I did kind of a lot of different sports. I did judo at a decent level. I did ice hockey and ball hockey as well. And ball hockey is different to field hockey. It's just complicated. But I think having the experience of doing team sports and individual sports, it really helped to shape me as a person, because when you're doing an individual sport, it's so different because you're just reliant on yourself. You have to put yourself out there to see the results. Whereas when you're in a team setting, you're relying on each other and you're supporting each other, and you need to all work together as a team to see the results. So it's totally different. And the fact that I did both of them, that probably shaped my leadership, because I grew my own confidence, but then I also developed my leadership style.
And supported your team around you. Can you tell us who have been some of the people who've inspired you?
There's a good few in my life. One of my first people that I can think of that's really inspired me was one of my first ever coaches that I had. He's called John Buchanan, and he was my judo coach from the age of 8 onwards. I've not been back since having my baby. He's determined to get me back. I'm determined to get my black belt. I'm halfway there. I've got 50 points. You need 100 points. So I'm like, we'll get that. We will get that. He's just an incredible man. He's always been in my corner, and he was so inspiring. He'd retired, and then the Commonwealth Games came back to Glasgow in 2014, and he qualified. He got himself qualified, and he went and he got bronze in front of his home crowd, in front of all his kids, like the people he coached. And just seeing, that determination. He was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show these kids they can do anything. Incredible man. More recently, there's people on my Champions Board. So the Champions Board is groups of people come together that are care experienced, were supported to kind of work alongside your local authority to make and develop changes, and, I guess call them out when things aren't going right. Hold people accountable, I suppose. So everyone on my Champions Board are all absolutely incredible people. We've all gone through our own journeys, and all of us are there because we want to make sure none of the mistakes happen to people down the line. Us being there, it's not going to change our life, it's not going to make the difference for us, but it's going to hopefully make a better care system for the people coming through behind us. So I think that's really important as well. Anyone that's that selfless to, put their own experiences out there to make other people have a better experience, I think anyone like that is just incredible to me.
And taking that leadership role for the future.
Absolutely.
So Aimee, how comfortable are you with the term leader?
I think that's another tough one. I don't think anyone really wants to openly say to themselves, I'm a leader. But I look at what I've done and I'm like, some people would view that as a leader, so maybe I should too.
And is there anything that you have to adjust to kind of believe that yourself?
It's just the self-confidence, isn't it? You can look at everything you've done and you can still think, well, I need to do more. But maybe that's a leadership trait in itself, just continuously driving for more, wanting to see more change. But I think anyone that goes out of their way to support other people, to make changes, to help others. I think that's a leader in itself.
Aimee, what traits do you think make an inspiring leader?
I think someone who's confident in their own abilities, able to put themselves out there and able to support others. It doesn't need to be the loudest person in the room. You know, you can be just chatting to the person next to you, making sure they're okay. And I think that makes a leader. Leading by example, going out there and doing the right thing, you know, not going out there and embarrassing yourself or acting out. I think holding your head high, the way you compose yourself is the way that other people view you. I think that's an important part of being a leader, is the way you present yourself.
Absolutely. And in terms of the future then, what changes are you hoping to see in our sector, in the social sector, in the years to come? What would make a difference to you?
I want to see the Care Experience Parents Charter implemented across all of the local authorities in Scotland. And I'd love to see England follow suit, because we followed the footsteps of Wales. Wales have got their Parents Charter in place. So I think seeing England and Northern Ireland, seeing them stepping up to these changes, I think having the whole UK at that kind of minimum level of everyone receives the right amount of support at the right time, that would be ideal for me. That would be a dream. But I think just seeing the Charter implemented in Scotland would be amazing.
And no doubt you'll play your part in that.
Yes, I will make it happen. I'm determined.
I'm sure you will, Aimee. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to The Ripple Effect, brought to you by the Rank Foundation and Purposeful Marketing. This episode featured Aimee Thorpe Mundt, Community Development and Engagement Assistant at the Why Not Trust. The producers were Cass Denton, alongside Jane Morgan and James Shield, courtesy of the Feast Collective. Tune into The Ripple Effect